7 Princesses from the 8 Heavens. Preface. When I was writing my previous book, I searched social media to gather reference sources about the geographical environment of the Caucasus and the culture of that region. To my surprise, I noticed that many young people, some of whom had never even visited the homeland and whose heritage was mixed with other bloodlines, were highly interested in the ancient culture, history, and mythological literature of their ancestors. They seek a civilizational reference to reconstruct their identity based on it. Unfortunately, there were limited literary and historical resources available for these young individuals to rely on for that rich identity, to acknowledge past connections, and to nourish their souls with ancient wisdom in the midst of the postmodern world's chaos. While searching for a cultural heritage to translate into English, my childhood fascination with stories of the Sasanian king Bahram led me to explore legends surrounding the Sassanid dynasty. I soon discovered that ancient Persian poems provided the richest source material for crafting books centered around the reign of Bahram. Despite the seemingly trivial task of collecting, categorizing, and translating 3 masterpieces of Persian literature, I felt compelled to preserve a portion of this remarkable legacy for future generations of this civilization. Others planted and we ate. We sow, and others will eat. The following book is a selection of stories from Shahnameh, Ferdowsi's book, Haft Paykar, Nezami's Ganjavi, and Behesht book by Dehlavi. The interesting thing is the diversity of the subjects of their stories. Bahram himself was born in the 5th century AD, and lived for 38 springs, being the 15th king of the Sassanid dynasty. In Ferdowsi's Shahnameh poems, Bahram is portrayed as a justice-loving, courageous, and sociable individual. Ferdowsi created his literary masterpiece in the 10th century in eastern Iran. Nezami Ganjavi, a prominent Iranian poet in the 12th century, decided to combine the fictional character of Bahram with ancient legends and create his book, 7 Portraits. Nezami Ganjavi was a resident of the Caucasus and created his poems in a mystical and heroic form. Finally, Dehlavi, a 13th century poet in India, published The 8 Paradise, a book mimicking the 7 portraits of Ganjavi's creation. In this book, I have endeavored to preserve the essence of these poets' words into simple prose without sacrificing their originality. While it may not capture all the poetic nuances and literary devices like metaphors found in the original works, I have strived to convey the beauty and depth of their writing as faithfully as possible. The Book of 7 Portraits has 2 historical and legendary dimensions, centered around the stories of 7 princesses from 7 lands. In the legendary mansion, Bahram's 7 wives take turns as hosts each night, sharing instructive stories with him. These 7 women symbolize 7 teachers from ancient lands, each aiming to enhance Bahram's character through their tales. Bahram settled his wives in a palace with 7 domes of different colors, each associated with a planet. The symbols of the 7 portraits are as follows: Saturn for Saturday, the black color of the Indian princess; Sunday for the sun, the yellow color of the Roman princess; Monday for the moon, the green color of the princess from Chorasmia; Tuesday for Mars, the red color of the Slavic princess; Wednesday, the planet Mercury, the turquoise color of Moroccan princess; Thursday for Jupiter, the sandal color of the Chinese princess; Friday for Venus, the white color of the Iranian princess. Bahram's name was derived from the planet Mars, symbolizing the ancient god of war among Iranians. Bahram also enters the cave several times during the story to find his treasure. These treasures symbolize reaching another stage of his higher identity, and by overcoming the demon of sensual desire, he progresses through various stages. The presence of caves in Iranian literature is rooted in the religious culture of Zoroastrianism, symbolizing the presence of religious brothers in Mithra temples built within caves. In ancient Iranian culture, kingship was seen as a divine gift to serve the people, and kings were often buried in mountains or stone tombs, similar to how Bahram eventually rests in the mountain. In the stories of the 7 portraits, we observe the recurring symbols of the cave and the well, where characters enter to confront and overcome the negative aspects of their lives. If successful, they are elevated or confined within the depths of the same dark well. Some characters in the story may be perceived as negative in today's society. However, it is important to recognize that many characters in stories serve as allegories and symbols of real concepts. For instance, the shepherd character symbolizes the prophets of God, while the butcher represents someone who carries out tasks without sentiment, akin to how a butcher separates meat from fat with a knife. It is true that having slaves in our modern world is unacceptable, as the industrial mode of production has reshaped human interactions. Morality is not fixed and evolves over time, with societal norms changing from era to era. Therefore, it is unfair to judge ancient human relationships based on contemporary standards. The number 7 is considered a perfect and sacred number in Eastern culture. Men of God must go through 7 stages of trials to become worthy of God's love and gain access to the mysteries of the universe. Dehlavi wrote the Book of 8 Paradise to emulate Nezami Ganjavi. The story of the handmaid and the cow is the 8th story in the book. I did not hesitate to add 6 of these 7 stories to this book, presenting them to you in the form of the stories of 6 sisters. Dehlavi's story, Wednesday, is a beautiful abstract blend of 7 portraits, and introducing that story before the 7 would diminish the beauty and charm of the 7 portraits. I hope that the stories in this book will be heard by both men and women, adding a new dimension to our modern lives. The poetic images created by these 3 poets in their masterpieces are like a 7-colored gem, captivating me to gaze at the sky every night and morning. The beauty of the universe seems to be magnified 100-fold within me. It's as if the scent of musk and amber still lingers in our lives after centuries of these poems.